Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today it's not one of my replays, instead this replay is from Bino, and he's in the Hippo, a tier 8 German cruiser. Now, you might be confused because he's in a cruiser and he is taking the B cap unopposed. And yeah, that's that should not be possible, and yet it is. So this battle has two submarines and the carrier. And you'd think, for example, the carrier could easily come here and spot him. That would be true, but the carrier doesn't. There is no destroyer there. It's important to note that there is no actual destroyer, which means that there is less spotting in total. I mean, yes, a carrier spots better than like two destroyers combined, but the carrier doesn't care, and Bino got a free cap out of it. Now, being in the center like here obviously would be devastating if both flanks took an interest in you, because you are in a crossfire here in the center. Turns out though that mostly the enemy doesn't care. As we can see, we have a lot of ships here going to the 9-10 line. And here we have like the 1-2 line. There is essentially a New Mexico. There is also a Heinrich, right? So there is a potential crossfire situation developing. But turns out Bino doesn't give a shit. He has seen the New Mexico and he's going for it. Now obviously New Mexico is a lower tier ship, but it's not like the Hipper is the tankiest ship in the game. And unlike the Prince, the Hipper does not have a heal, which means, you know, all hit points lost, well, will remain lost. But so far, it looks like the New Mexico is the only one interested in him. The Heinrich isn't coming in there to create a crossfire or anything. The Heinrich is not even... Well, now two ships aiming at him. Maybe the Heinrich is finally... No. It's the Leander that has taken interest in him, not the Heinrich. So far, nobody has actually hit him yet. So he just keeps charging in New Mexico, because why not? Now he's shooting the Leander. He has decided to just keep going towards New Mexico and probably launch some torps. The carrier is now taking interest too. Now that's a problem, because there isn't really anything he can do against them. I mean, you could argue he can't really do anything against the shells of New Mexico. Well, he can angle. But he can do something against New Mexico itself, and that's torpedo it as he gets closer. Now he is very careful to not launch his torpedoes too early. But you can already see his plan is solely focused on the torpedoes. He's using his guns on the Leander because, you know, why shoot the New Mexico that's going to get torped anyway? Unfortunately, the carrier is still a nuisance. He's trying to avoid those. Torps are on the way, and he isn't even looking at the explosion. Now, the friendly team has the battleships obviously in the rear, instead of pushing that Leander. I guess a Leander is a very scary thing, right? Wouldn't want to get too close to it. But Bino is providing some help there. The carrier is still attacking. Now Bino is getting pretty close to said carrier. We can see that the planes are coming somewhere from the rear here, and yeah, unfortunately he will have to take one torpedo here. The gap was a little bit too small for his ship to fit, and he is getting low. The carrier will definitely sink him in time. And if he were to, like, turn around now, probably wouldn't live very long. So his best bet now is to find and sink the carrier before the carrier sinks him. Now, so far, this game has made no sense whatsoever, right? He was allowed to take the cap uncontested, then he pushed in and the other flank completely ignored him, so he could essentially just charge and torpedo the battleship. Now he is carrier hunting in a cruiser. 8 minutes into the game, he is well behind the enemy lines. Because the enemy doesn't give a shit. The enemy is just idling somewhere in the 9-10 line. Well, I still confused why the Heinrich never cared, but the Heinrich's on full health, so I don't think the Heinrich cared about anything. It's not like the Bismarck and the Vladivostok are, you know, doing all that well here. But hey, so the carrier has finally been identified. The problem is Bino is getting very low, and it will take a little bit of time to farm the carrier. Meanwhile, the carrier is going to retaliate. Now he's going for some armor piercing. The carrier, not sure if this angle is good enough for citadels, and it is not. As you can see, only one shell actually did damage. When you look at the minimap, you can see that the angle isn't as good as it might look zoomed in. So 6 ricochets there. He's going back to high explosive because armor piercing just isn't doing it here. He set a fire, which means the carrier is obviously not burning because it's a carrier. Imagine if fire would do a lot against them. Now he's trying to find the gap, but unfortunately it's not happening. He is getting really low, alright, and the carrier is farming him a little bit faster than he is farming the carrier. Thankfully there is only one torpedo this time, he can dodge that. But the next squadron should be on it. Why is the next squadron not on its way? Ah, no, there it is, we just didn't see it earlier. Now the friendly carrier is trying to provide some fighters here and help out, which is very nice of the friendly carrier. Unfortunately, it looks like the enemy tank planes are just squeezing past without actually triggering those fighters. So, yeah, the friendly carrier tried, but it did nothing. Now the dive bombers are coming in. Well, we'll see what RNG says. And... oh, they missed! So this was lucky, right? Because those dive bombers could have potentially done a lot of damage, maybe even taken him out. And with this, the carrier is... well, it's coming back with some more torpedo planes. I don't think it will be able to sink Bino before he sinks the carrier, but it might be mutually assured destruction here. Oh look, there is a fire. So the 1 minute of the damage count has... no, wait, there was no fire. My bad. For a second I thought that carrier would actually burn. So he is once again trying to turn, but the turning circle just isn't good enough. And those torpedoes are too close together to give him a convenient gap. There is one last plane, and I mean the one torpedo... oh, it didn't get it off. Okay, that's good news, I guess. Now, while he did all that, he also got an AA defensive expert, which is silly because he never really managed to defend himself against planes in this game so far, right? But, you know, the medal is just trolling you some... well, you do get experience for shooting down planes, right? It's the haha you got farm medal. Meanwhile, the enemy team has now taken 2 camps, but the friendlies do have a little bit advantage when it comes to points. Now, where does Bino go from here? He is unfortunately a very low health hipper. We're going to speed it up while he gets closer towards the enemies. The 2 battleships that haven't done anything much so far other than sit in the back are still pretty far in the back. Of course, we can see the Bismarck is essentially full health. At least the Vladivostok took a little bit of damage. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky, right? Considering his health, open water gunboating might just be the way to go. There is a certain risk involved because the Heinrich could easily sink him here with one salvo. So it's just like... yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, I suppose. Ideally, he would find an island and then lob shells over that island. But is there a convenient one? He could go north a little bit to this island, but by the time he is there, would he find a position where he can lob shells? Also, he would get spotted on his way in by the Heinrich. So far, he is being very careful. I mean, he might be hoping that his battleships are going to engage those enemy battleships and that they'll be distracted. They could also just try to sneak around and take the sea cap behind the enemies. Like, there are 5 minutes remaining. But the friendlies do have quite the points, right? So trying to win on points is definitely an option. Okay, so the Bismarck has certainly engaged the Heinrich, and he's hoping to help out a little bit. Unfortunately, the Heinrich is immediately switching to him. Or at least I think the Bismarck has engaged the Heinrich, yeah. Now the good news is there's a fire. The bad news... Oh wait, is the Heinrich getting distracted? Is it turning actually its guns towards the Bismarck? No. The Heinrich is still more than enough. More than willing enough to shoot the Hipper. Now I think the Heinrich might have launched its torps because it quickly unselected Bino here. So that might be what's happening. Now Bino is getting away with it here quite nicely. Of course, German guns are not known for their accuracy at longer ranges, so there is that. And the Vladivostok just got taken out. That is a bit of a shame, because the friendlies are now one ship behind. There is a submarine still, and we don't know where. I haven't seen any indication of where it is. It could have also been hunting that Vladivostok up there. We don't know. Now, the friendly Bismarck has still not really tanked anything. So there is that. I mean, the friendlies do have a carrier. That's always very beneficial. And there's a high caliber. Albino is surviving very long on his low hit points here. Will his luck run out? We shall see. Okay, we've now seen the submarine. The Heinrich and the Amagi are both in a position where they can shoot him. Meanwhile, the friendly Bismarck has obviously found cover behind an island. It is re-engaging, but... You know, the friendly Bismarck, being a full health battleship at this late stage in the game, of course, decided to, instead of outright facing the enemies, to seek some shelter and briefly disengage behind an island to let the barely floating Hipper tank. Because this is World of Warships. Meanwhile, the Heinrich... is now behind an island, but Bino is focusing the Amagi, which is very low. The carrier might be able to finish off the Heinrich. And at least the Bismarck secondaries are doing some work there. And the Bismarck actually did something. And then it died. Wait a moment. This Bismarck was full health like 10 seconds ago. Oh god. Well, I mean, nobody is really surprised, right? But that's 2 versus 3 now. And the good news is Bino hasn't taken any damage in a long time because nobody really cared that much. I was able to hit him. Bad news is the secondaries of the Heinrich are going to chew him up pretty quickly unless the secondaries are destroyed at this point. Now, ideally, he can get close to the island and then torpedo ambush him. Now, there is only 1.5 minutes left, but the enemy do have more caps. So, but now look how the math works out, but are we going to... a bit lazy. So he is launching a little bit early, I think, with his troops. I mean, the Heinrich is definitely coming close. And there is the fear, obviously, that the torpedoes will... like that the Heinrich will sink him, and then the torpedoes will be not used at all. There is also maybe the hope that the carrier finishes off the Heinrich. but the Heinrich has appeared. Now he did get a fire, and will he live? He lives for now. The Heinrich has taken care of that fire. Oh, follow-up fire, nice, nice. Okay, a submarine has been spotted. I mean, the Kara's automated anti-submarine warfare will probably take care of that. He is though, well, he can't resist getting a salvo off against the sub. Meanwhile, the Heinrich should still be on fire, and it should go down. There we go.
Wir haben ein gegnerisches Schlachtschiff versenkt.
And the friendlies actually win on points. Yeah, so this game made no sense whatsoever. Well done, Bino, well done. He most certainly carries this. But, you know, he just saw that there were no destroyers, so he went in and became the destroyer. He took the cap, he took out the New Mexico, then the carrier, and in the end, the last battleship. But yeah, this entire game made no sense. Well, anyway, that's over 3,000 base experience and a nice carry. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you next time.